A Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to the Christmas Eve candlelight devotional. Rene here, and I have lit one of the candles, like the thousands that we're going to use tonight at our Christmas Eve candlelight services. You know, I was thinking about how the Christmas story in the Bible is not just in Matthew and in Luke, it's also told in the Gospel of John. And scholars tell us that the Gospel of John was written last. And I think that John looked at Matthew and he looked at Luke and he realized that they had already told the narrative of the story. And what he wanted to do was to tell the meaning behind the story of Christmas. And so he searches for the right kind of metaphor to use. And here's what he says in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 9. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. That's why a candlelight service is really the perfect way to remember Christmas. The light of God came into our world at Christmas time. And that means that you can know that God knows about the darkness you live in, and God cares, and God came to be with you, with all of us in our darkness. It's interesting, just a few verses earlier in John 1:5, John says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Now think of what he was writing about in the first century when he says the darkness has not overcome it. He's thinking about Caesar. He's thinking about the Roman Empire. He's thinking about Nero persecuting Christians. And yet after decades of that, by the time John writes his gospel, he says, and yet the darkness has not overcome the light. In spite of everything this dark world tries to throw at it, the message of Christ is still here 20 centuries later. And maybe you really need to hear that message this Christmas. You need that more than anything, because just looking at the headlines makes you feel like the darkness is overcoming the light. Maybe what you've been living out in your own life right now is making you feel like the darkness is overcoming the light. But the message of Christmas is that the light that gives light to everyone came into our darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. I hope you come to one of our candlelight services tonight, and I hope you come to celebrate the fact that light has come into our dark world, and the darkness has not and will not ever overcome it. Speak that out in truth against the darkness in our world. I hope to see you tonight. God bless you, and Merry Christmas.